What is good, YouTube? This your boy Aaron,
It's Brian.
and this is the Courtside View podcast, and we are back today. Thursday night football is 2 hours away. We're gonna give our thoughts on Thursday night football, who we think is gonna win, give our analysis on both teams. But before we get to that, I want to discuss the previous games from Week 15 before we get to Week 16. And without further ado, let's get down to it. Let's start off with the games that were least important, less significant. Um, Eagles versus Raiders. This is a game. This is a matchup that we pretty much saw coming. I mean, we pretty much knew the Eagles are going to win this game, regardless of how just dysfunctional they have been and how predictable their offense has been. Going up against one of the worst teams in football is going to be an easy day for any team that is struggling offensively. So that's just my thoughts. What about you?
Um, the Raiders are one of the worst teams I've seen in quite some time. They're just awful. I don't know a single thing that they do well besides lose. So
Good point.
good win, the Eagles. You shut them out, but like I told my team before, it's just the Raiders.
Right, right. Like, how much can you put into that win? I mean, yeah, they shut them out, but like, it's just the Raiders at the end of the day, and it seems like they're gearing up for the top pick in the NFL draft. So it's not really much you could take away from that, other than it's the Raiders. They're a mess. Moving on, let's go to the Texans versus Cardinals. Um, this game
That was
is more
a good one.
so about the Texans than it is really the Cardinals. It just shows that the Texans, they're playing their best brand of football in the most pivotal time of the year. They continuously get better and better and better. I can't wait for their game against Jacksonville. I don't know which week it is, but that's going to determine the division. That's going to be a significant game because both teams are gearing up. Like, I think Jacksonville holds the lead in the division right now, and the Texans are number two. That's going to be an interesting matchup. But regardless, the Texans, they won easily against the Cardinals, 40-20. CJ Stroud. I haven't watched the film of CJ Stroud, but just looking at the numbers, I'm impressed. It seems like he's getting a little bit better each week. And it seems like as the time goes on, he's starting to get his groove back. 22 for 29 passing, 260 yards passing, three touchdowns, zero interceptions, only one sack given. That's pretty damn good. Not Jawan Jordan, regardless of his name, Jordan, 15 carries, 101 yards rushing, 6.7 yards per carry. That's incredible. Nico Collins, he had three receptions, 85 yards, two touchdowns. Dalton Schultz had a touchdown, had a pretty good day. Um, any thoughts on this game?
Um, the Texans. I mean, I expected them to win, but the Cardinals kind of been a little competitive this year. They haven't really been blown out many times, but this game it was a thrashing. I ain't gonna lie. So yeah, man, like you said, the Texans are getting hot at the right time, and I don't know what team wants to see them at this point of the year or even in the playoffs.
Yeah, you make a great point. I think there's only two teams really, the Broncos and the Bills, that can compete with them. Honestly, every other team, it's going to be a difficult time considering how ferocious the Texans defense is, and it seems like the offense is starting to figure out different ways to score points or at least be effective enough to keep the defense rested. So yeah, yeah, the Texans, they're playing really well right now, man. They're playing really well. Moving on, let's go to the next game. Panthers and Saints. The Panthers are such a confusing team for me because on one hand, I thought this is a team that might run away with the division. They're playing really good football. A lot of the players that we didn't think were going to be good this year or we didn't know of are playing a lot better than was expected of them. And then all of a sudden they lose to the Saints. And it's just one of those things where you can't put all of your money on the Panthers because they're a team that they're a roller coaster. You don't they're bipolar. You don't know what to expect from them week by week. One week they look like a really good team, and then the next week they fall flat on their face. And this week they lost to the Saints, one of the worst teams in football. Division rival, I understand, but it's the Saints at the end of the day with Tyler Shuck as the quarterback, who I've been hearing some pretty good things about as of recently. But still, it's the Saints, and you lose to the Saints. You're not supposed to lose against the Saints, and they could still win. Obviously, they're still in the hunt for the division crown. It just seems like the NFC South. It's like who wants it? Like it's up for
Exactly.
grabs. Who
They're
wants
trying
it
to give it
more?
away.
Yeah, we're giving it away. Who wants it? And uh, it's just disappointing to see from Carolina Panthers. Any thoughts on this game?
I called the upset. I predicted it in our weekly Sunday post where we post our game predictions. I kind of figured they was going to lose right after I saw the Buccaneers lose to the Falcons on Thursday Night Football, and I was like, the Saints have been playing very decent as of lately, and the Panthers really haven't separated themselves from the pack in the division like people would try to make you believe just because Bryce Young is playing a little better than he did the previous years. But like I said, their offense is still not where it needs to be. They don't have a bona fide number one dude out like that. They in practice they don't have a number one dude because Tet only had like 2 catches that game against the Saints. And yeah, the Panthers, I don't know, man. I'm not feeling them like how other people try to gas them up. But Tyler Shuck has been honestly, he's been the best rookie this class. Like we keep it on, like the numbers prove it, the film proves it. Um, I was wrong about him coming out of Louisville. I thought because he was old and that NFL no, it was yeah the combine
Mm-mm.
performance he put out where he was just missing wide open throws to dude in shorts and t-shirts. I was like, oh yeah, this dude, he's terrible. Wrong. So I'll hold my L on that one. But another thing about the Saints, real quick, their defense has been playing pretty good, and Chase Young has been like the leading driver of that. He's had a really good year. Only needed 5 years to develop into a guy that we expect him to be out of Ohio State. But yeah, man, the Saints really got something. If they can build on this going off season, they Kellen Moore job might be safe after this recent winning they've been doing or being competitive at least.
Yeah, I think with the Saints, they've had moments where they were very see the difference between the Saints and like all these other bad teams is that they've had moments where they have been competitive, they've been in games, and obviously as a bad team, you're gonna have those games where you're just completely awful and it goes just completely wrong for them. And with this game, being able to upset your division rival, have the rookie QB play well, it's a good sign for an organization that hasn't been good since Drew Brees and Sean Payton were at the helm. So Tyler Shuck, I don't know if you should admit that you were wrong just yet. It's still a small sample size. I think you should reserve judgment until we get some more games on his belt. But I will say that so far he has proved some of us wrong to a certain extent in terms of him being able to play at the next level as a starter for a little bit of time. Um, but the jury is still out, and we'll see if he can continue some level of success as a starting quarterback. Because I'm not completely sold just yet. 5, 6 games starting, that's cool, but I need to see what he's like for an entire season before I say, all right, this guy he's a bona fide starter. Great pick by the Saints. I'm still not all the way there yet. But hey, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel.
And I was ragging on him so bad pre-draft. It'd be bogus of me to not be like, okay,
Hmm. Okay, so then let's move on. 49ers versus Titans. Who would have thought that the 49ers was not going to win? I mean, for crying out loud. Another really bad team, and the Titans 49ers win. Brock Purdy had himself a day, 23 for 30, 295, 3 touchdowns. Um, the 49ers are 10-4. I got to say this about the 49ers because with all the injuries, with all the things that they had to overcome, considering Brock Purdy has been hurt. for a good portion of the year. So they had to turn to Mac Jones, and he was able to keep them afloat. And then you had injuries to wide receivers, injuries to all types of key positions on this team, and they're still 10-4, which it just goes to show the culture and the coaching from Kyle Shanahan, from Robert Saleh. So I just want to give them credit where it's due, even though I don't like the 49ers. I'd rather them lose every game, but I got to give credit where it's due. 37 points against the Tennessee Titans. Not extremely impressive, but hey, at the end of the day, they're still in it. They're still there. And all I can say is, hey, respect.
Those daggone 49ers getting away with it yet again.
Hmm.
Like, they
Yet
just don't
again.
go away, man. They just don't go away.
You know what's crazy? They're still in the hunt to win the division. That's the thing.
They are.
They're still right
Realistically,
there.
the top 3 teams in that division could finish with 11 or more wins. Actually, I think
Absolutely.
they will finish with 11 or more wins, all 3 of those teams.
You know, I'm looking at their division record right now, and the 49ers are 4-1 in their division. The Rams are 3 and
They
1.
own the
Seattle is 2 and
tiebreaker.
2.
If if there was a three-way tie, they'd own the tiebreaker.
Yeah, because they well right now they have the best record because they have one more win than the Rams. But like they're right there. Like they're a game behind. I mean, they're right there,
Yeah,
which is insane
because
because for most of the season, when we look at the Rams and Seahawks, we thought those are the two best teams, but the 49ers are right there.
yeah, the 40 they swept the Rams. Then they obviously got the Cardinals up out of there, and they lost the first game. Oh wait,
They beat Seattle too.
yeah, they did.
Yeah, they beat Seattle. Remember,
So
first
was the
game of the
one
season.
division loss was that the Rams?
That may have been the Rams, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, but I hate the
Actually,
49ers, but
actually they beat the
y'all
Rams.
shouldn't.
They
I'm
beat the
sorry.
Rams. Remember, they beat them in overtime.
So they swept them.
They split. That's what happened.
Okay, they split. Okay,
They
okay. I
they
thought
played
they
the
swept
Rams
them for some
twice.
reason.
No,
Okay.
no, the
They
Rams
play the
got their get
Seahawks
back.
week 18, I believe, or week 17, and
Yeah,
we okay, got you. Yeah, but they just can't go away, and they didn't have the hardest schedule this year either, so
no, not
that
at all.
helped them out.
That's why when we made our predictions, I was like, don't count out the 49ers just yet, because that schedule is pretty easy. And so far it's looking like exactly what I predicted in terms of the 49ers. Now I thought there would be a little bit of a regression, but man oh man, like the fact that they're still in it, it just goes to show what having an easy schedule will do for you, even in the event of having major injuries. When you have good
I thought they were
coaching,
finished when
me too.
Fred Warner and Nick Bosa went down.
Yeah, me too. But they're still able to stay in it and compete on a high level and be in playoff contention, which is a testament to the coaching and a testament to the depth of that team. So yeah, man. Moving on though, let's go to Colts versus Seahawks. Philip Rivers, he's back after a 4-year hiatus. Um, I didn't
Didn't
watch
look
this game.
terrible.
I didn't. Oh, he didn't. I didn't watch this
No,
game,
he
but
didn't.
interesting.
He looked
Interesting.
decent, actually.
I'm
He didn't
surprised it
have
was
much
that
spin on the
close.
ball. It wasn't much spin or velocity on the
Yeah,
ball, but he made some plays.
I'm surprised it was a close game too, considering what I thought of Seattle.
Yeah, and I said that Seattle defense is really good. That's a heck of a team to come out of retirement to, but he didn't fold. So it's like, man, what's up with these young QBs to where these old men, 44-year-old, come off the couch literally the same week and get into a game and do solid out there? Like, we have a problem. Actually, Kirk Cousins went into detail about the defenses and stuff. It was a good clip. It was a good clip.
It was a really good clip where he just goes just extensively about just what quarterbacks have to deal with on a daily basis and the development process regarding how he went about as a quarterback in college, what he was asked to do, versus in the NFL, we went to Kevin O'Connell and stuff like that when it comes to like, okay, we're gonna go pure progression versus we're gonna go based off of coverage. And it was a great clip. It was a great clip, great discussion. Some of it I could definitely follow along. Then some of it I was like, you're speaking
He's
space talk. But like for the
he
most part, I
started
can.
naming coverages, and I'm like, whoa, whoa, slow down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like for the most part, about 75% I could keep track of. But like, there's always gonna be that 20% where it's like, you're talking, that's like space, that's like
It's like a new
mathematic,
language.
engineering, uh all types of crazy stuff that I never heard of. But yeah, man, that was an interesting topic. But moving on, I want to talk about Jaguars and Jets. The Jaguars 48-20. Trevor Lawrence, your guy on the salute segment, had five, actually has six total touchdowns because he
Yep.
had that one rushing. My goodness. The Jets are just a dumpster fire. Like they have Brady Cook starting at QB at three interceptions. They're gearing up for, they're going for the number one pick. Like it's just that simple. Um, they're a bad football team, but salute to
It's a tight race.
Jacksonville. Salute, yeah, it is a tight race, but salute to Jacksonville, bro. Like they have considerably overachieved. I did not think they were going to be this good, especially
Me either.
without the former Heisman Trophy winner, number three overall pick, Travis Hunter, being out for the year. The fact that they're still able to stay afloat is a testament to Liam Cohen. I'm gonna say this again, but I always thought coming into the season, I was like, yo, this dude Liam Cohen guy, just watching some of their games. I'm like, man, this dude can coach. Players just gotta execute and buy in. And boy, have they bought in? They have bought in, and then some. And Trevor Lawrence,
Yeah,
he's really starting to get it together, and he's protecting the football. I'm still not all the way sold with him, but he's playing
he
better.
has his moments.
He has his moment. He's a very talented QB. I'm still not um, all the way
Out.
sold, but he's a decent QB. Like he's not a guy that you go into a football game, you say, all right, he's going to lose us the game. That makes sense.
Oh, yeah. I can agree with that.
Yeah. So, anywho, moving on. Let's go. Falcons and Buccaneers. I watched the end of this game. A bit shocked that the Buccaneers weren't able to hold on to the lead and they just allowed
I
the
wasn't.
Falcons to roar back, and the Buccaneers just lost the game. They blew it. They blew their opportunity. Mike Evans was irate on the sideline. Like
I would
it
be
just
too.
felt
You
like,
you see some of them plays they was giving up.
yeah, yeah, I did. It was absurd just the amount of times that the Falcons offense were able to uh, get in like third and long, fourth and long situations and complete uh, just passes and convert down the field. It was ridiculous. I couldn't believe it, especially with Kirk Cousins, who, let's be honest, like he's just not what he once was before the injuries. And the fact that the Falcons just were able to go down the field after the type of season that they've had without a Drake London is just downright disgraceful by the Buccaneers. So Baker Mayfield hasn't been great ever since the MVP talks. It just seems like this team has gone down an abyss ever since the MVP talks from Baker Mayfield. They are imploding in front of our eyes.
Yeah,
That's just my
Baker
thoughts.
has not been playing good ball these past 7 or so weeks.
Oh, seems like the Detroit game really exposed them. Remember when they
Yeah,
played
that
Detroit?
actually, yeah. I think that's where it all started.
Yeah, that Detroit game when they got punched in the mouth by Detroit, like Detroit put up like damn near 40 points on them, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were just getting absolutely destroyed on offense and defense. That was the game that really uh just turned around their season for the worse. All right.
Yeah, now Todd Bowles probably out of there if they don't make the playoffs.
That could be true. I really don't know. I don't know. At this point, who knows?
And
Give
this
him
is the
6 years.
problem. You hire these defensive coaches, and now you're gonna have to be responsible replacing offensive coordinators every year because in back-to-back years, Canales left and got a head coaching gig, and Liam Cohen left and got a coaching gig, and now your offense looking shaky and your defense not producing you a defensive head coach. What exactly are you here for?
Mhm. Do you think it's also a case of just a lack of talent? I think
Yes,
it's
I
a big case
do.
of
I
lack
think
of
it's
talent.
injuries, lack of talent, scheme is a little bleh. But yeah, it's a combination of things. But we I don't really think Todd Bowles is really the guy to really get him over that hump.
I think it's really hard for I think it's really hard for a lot of coaches. There's only a select few coaches that can adapt to their situation. Maybe it's just a case where Todd Bowles, he has the scheme and he goes by this certain defensive scheme, and if he doesn't have the players, then it's a wrap. Like, I mean, that's for obviously that's for every organization, but like, I don't know, maybe he's so dependent on top level talent that he's not able to adapt when a lot of the talented players that he had once are gone for injuries or for an extended period of time. So maybe
True.
that's just the case where he's
You also
just
you also can't throw
it's
your
hard.
guys under the bus though.
That is true. Yeah,
Like during
he
that
did do
post
that.
game presser, he realized threw the entire he threw all of the players under the bus.
He did do that. That was a bad look. But I just think a lot of it has to do with the talent isn't there, especially on defense. They've regressed tremendously. That could be also the GM just not doing a good enough job of drafting. Maybe instead of drafting a Mecca Ibuka, you go for a defensive player instead of going for another depth piece at wide receiver. Even though Emeka has been pretty good for them, he's obviously hit that rookie wall in the middle of the season, but man, oh man, their defense is just it's just not where it's at right now. They need
Yeah.
to really um invest in the defensive side of football.
Especially the trenches. They don't generate any pass rush.
Nah, not at all. Moving on, Commanders versus Giants. This is another game I didn't watch because like these are two bad football teams. It's the crap bowl. Like who wants to watch?
The
Yes,
toilet
Commanders and
bowl.
Giants, but come on, man. Jackson Dart, um, pretty decent box score, but I think he went into the concussion protocol again.
He did.
This guy, oh my goodness.
It's not sustainable. It's just that simple.
I'm gonna be honest. Like this is a bad. If you're a Giants fan, I know Jackson Dart has shown a lot of flashes this season, but if I'm a Giants fan, I'm worried long term for this guy. I don't know if I can count on him going forward. If you're in a concussion protocol, what how many times? Like
I think 5, this
five,
the 5th
five,
time.
5 times you're in a concussion protocol in one season. To me, that's just a bad look. I don't know if that's sustainable because as we saw with Tua, now Tua's been relatively healthy for the most part, but like it just seems like almost every season Tua has like just major concussion and he has to sit down for a little bit. And with Jackson
He gonna
Dart, if he
sit
can,
down a lot a bit now.
yeah, man, if Jackson Dart continues to put himself in situations where he's at risk of another concussion, I don't know how much longer he can withstand this level of punishment before it just you just can't rely on him anymore. And this is just a bad sign, especially for a rookie.
Yeah, he needs to him and Cam Scatterboo need to reel it back a little bit because at this rate, they both gonna have CTE by the time they 27, 28.
Hmm. I don't, the amount of rushing that he's doing, like the fact that he's in the concussion protocol all these times, and they keep giving him the football and keep calling his number. Like he had 9 carries for 63 yards. At some point, you just got to say, dude, like run when it's necessary. Run when there's absolutely nothing else there and there's nobody open. but don't
Or if you're
run.
going to scramble and get out the pocket, at least do like what Caleb does and at least try to look to make a play instead of just running just to run.
And that's the unfortunate situation for the Giants right now, man.
Honestly, if
Um,
I'm the Giants, I know Jackson Dart's supposed, but the way he's playing, QB is not 100% off the table.
it's a good point. It's a good point. Um, but it's hard. It's hard though. That's
It's hard to justify it, but in that mode, because like you could be passing up on such a great other good talent. But if Jackson Dart can't play a full 17, shoot, if he can't play a full 10, then what are you really banking on?
so let me ask you this. Let's say, all right, the NFL draft rolls around. I don't know what the draft situation is. I
I
assume they
believe
they
they
have a
have
first
pick
round pick.
number 3 or so. Let me look
So
at Tinkathon real
let
quick.
let's say they don't. I don't think it's a good idea for them to draft a quarterback in the first round. But let's
Mm.
say in the third round, a guy by the name of John Mateer
Oh, they have the
is
number 1
available.
pick actually.
They have the number one pick. Let's say in the third round, a guy by the name of John Mateer out of Oklahoma is available. Do you draft him?
In the 3rd round?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'd say here's what they should do. They should trade back, get some
Mm.
draft capital, and if you somehow are able to get it like a later round pick, like you said, like a 3rd or 4th, then I'd take a flyer on a QB because I doubt they're bringing Russ back for another year, and they might keep James, but James might go to another team as well. So you're going to need some depth from somewhere.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. Um, because this year's group of quarterbacks are not very good.
Yeah, only
Outside
person
of
I'd be even
Fernando.
somewhat comfortable taking in the first is Mendoza, and that's because he just won the Heisman, and he's a
Yeah,
relatively he does the things you need to do, like taking the easy layups and stuff. Like he's not no Pat Mahomes or nothing, but he's serviceable. All these other QBs, I'm like, I don't know about that.
yeah. So with that being said, I think if I'm the Giants, I have the number one pick. I think you got to go for a skill position, something like something where you can help Jackson Dart or just help your defense or your offense. I wouldn't draft a QB this year because of the QB crop is just not all that talented. And even Mendoza, I'm not sold that he can withstand the dysfunction of the New York Giants. I think Jackson Dart, you have to keep giving him more pieces. And I believe this is the perfect draft to do that. But I also think that you have to make sure that you protect yourself by drafting another quarterback, not in the first two rounds, but maybe in the third or fourth. That in the event Mendoza, in the event Dart gets hurt or I don't know, doesn't play well enough, you can get this third round guy, fourth round guy, and plug and play him and see what he got. And hopefully, well, not hopefully, but you never know. You never know. Anywho, moving on. Let's go. Ravens versus Bengals. So Ravens got their get back, and boy, was it a get back. 24-0. A complete shutout. Joe Burrow was playing this game, and he was god awful this game. Jamar Chase still had a really good day from a box scores perspective, but it did not matter. Um, Derrick Henry had a decent game. He had 100 yards, 9.1 yards per carry. Lamar Jackson he only threw the ball 12 times. 12 times. Lamar Jackson. Two touchdowns, one interception, sacked four times. This game is whatever. It's whatever. That's just how I feel about it. What about you?
That game was a disappointment. I was expecting a good old Western shootout, but instead we just got a thrash. And the Bengals looked off. Joe Burrow just looks off. It doesn't look like they're bought in. The team is bought into Zach Taylor's system anymore. Burrow's in the conferences sounding dejected and depressed or stuff. People to this point where people thinking he's going to consider retirement this off season, and that's never a good sign. So whatever he's going through, I hope he gets his mind right because Joe Burrow is a fantastic player, and we don't need to see another young QB retire early because of organizational incompetence and stuff like that. So the Ravens, they also didn't. I wasn't very impressed with the Ravens from this game, especially the offense is still whatever. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Joe Burrow, please do not leave. Stay in Cincinnati, bro. We don't want you in the NFC. Stay in Cincinnati, all right? We
What
don't
if he
want you to
goes to
we don't want you to go to the Vikings. We don't want you to go to any of these teams, bro. Stay your ass in the AFC. Stay your ass in Cincinnati. We're good. All right. We don't want you to go to the 49ers or any of these rumored teams that people are a fantasy booking you in. We don't want you in those. All right. So stay
if
your
he
ass
goes
in
to the
Cincinnati.
49ers, I'm done watching the NFL.
Stay your ass in Cincinnati. All right. You're good. You got Jamar Chase and you got T. Higgins. You're good. All right. You're good. Anywho, moving on. Um, let's go to the uh, Bears versus Browns. Another one. Blowout. Unfortunately for the Browns, only generating 3 points. Shador Sanders, not his best game. That one pass that he threw to Judy that got picked off. Could have Shador have thrown a better ball? Absolutely, but if you're Judy, you got to get that. He threw you the ball good enough to where you can catch it and score on that one, and is Jerry Judy at the end of the day, and obviously he's going to not get that football at the end of the day because he's Jerry Judy. Not really much else to say besides the fact that Miles Garrett got under the sack and he's inching closer
He
to.
got half a sack,
Um,
but yeah,
yeah, I mean, hey, it's still
he just
something.
needs two
Shit.
to break the record.
Yeah, he got 1.5 sack. I mean, shoot, he did something. He did something right. I guess that's the only thing the Browns fans can look forward to is Miles Garrett's sack record because everything else is a nightmare. So
Have
that's
we
my
ever
thought.
seen a player on a team with that bad of a record win Defensive Player of the Year before?
Um,
He's a shoo-in to win it, but I just don't know if we've seen a team with a record that bad win it before.
I remember JJ Watt. He was balling out one year with the Texans, and they were just really bad. Um, Trying to remember the year. But I just remember there was a year like JJ Watt was super dominant, but like that Texans team was just god awful. I was still giving defensive player of the year at the end of the
Oh,
day because
I give it to him. I don't care what team record says. Miles Garrett's Defensive Player of the Year, and last thing I'll say on the Browns, Shador, you my man's and all, but I'm putting the watch down for another week because matter of fact, you take the watch off and go put a G Shock on until you play better this week, and then you could put the AP back on. That
jeez,
was
jeez,
a bad performance.
jeez. I haven't, but I don't think I need to see much to know it wasn't the best performance for me. Interception, not
It wasn't. It
passing.
was bad.
I don't think I need to watch the film. I don't think I need to watch
He
the
made a
film
couple
to
good
know that
throws
he
still,
he
but
played pretty
overall,
bad.
that performance was
Mm. Very underwhelming.
yeah.
All right, let's move on to let's move on to the what are the games before we get to the major ones. Dolphins versus Steelers, the Monday night game. Steelers won. I picked the Steelers to win this game.
I did as
Um,
well.
the Steelers, it is. I mean, they're one of those teams. It's whatever. Like, okay, yeah, they'll be up on the bad teams. Dolphins, I know they've been winning as of late, but they're the Dolphins at the end of the day. And Tua Tagovailoa, is Tua Tagovailoa. He's very limited as a quarterback, and he had 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. You look at the box score, you're like, it's pretty decent, but when you watch the film, you're like, he's just not that guy. Um, any thoughts on this game, if you have any?
Steelers. Aaron Rodgers, he can still sling it out there at his age, but the Steelers as a whole, like that offense is just so archaic. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't like the Steelers or the Ravens. I don't like any team in that division. How about that? And the AFC North is essentially the NFC South of the AFC because both of these teams are just like you don't have any confidence that they'll win a playoff game unless something crazy happens. But still, they just took care of business. They beat up on a bad Dolphins team that can't play in the cold still. Uh, and Tua got benched. So imagine benching a QB you just paid $200 million. That is. When are we going to
Malpractice.
see these organizations take a stand and say, I would rather try my hand at getting another QB than pay this sack of mid to top 5 money on the market? Who's going to be the first org to be like, I'm putting my foot down? We cannot allow these mid QBs, the Tuas, the Kyler Murrays to be making $200 million a year. It's just not happening no more.
Well, the problem is that look what transpired. These organizations drafted that QB. So they feel like it's beholden to them to prove to the owner that we made the right decision in drafting this QB so high in the draft. So they want to just reassure the owner organization that we made the right decision. And that's why a lot of times they decide to re-sign the person, re-sign the QB because of ego, because of pride, not necessarily because of logic. They're in denial. They don't want to accept that they were wrong in their evaluation of this QB coming out of the draft. They were wrong in their development of this QB, and that's why they overpay him because getting good QBs is hard to find, but also that ego and pride element where they don't want the world, they don't want to believe that the world is right, that their QB is bad in a way. So that's just the way it is, man.
And those orgs will continue to lose because of that type of thinking and
Absolutely.
mentality.
Absolutely. There's not many cases where an organization can move on from a quarterback that they drafted first overall and they get back Matthew Stafford. It's not many times where you can have a situation like that where um you're given almost a gift by another organization and you get back a significantly better QB and win a Super Bowl because it's very hard. It's very rare that that happens. So it just is what it is. Organizations going to continue to do that. But moving on. Now let's get to the important games. Lions versus Rams. I picked the Rams this game. I already knew the Rams were going to win this game. The Lions defense is still with the parts
Amik
that they have.
Robertson is
They've
put on film
overachieved.
every single week. He's terrible.
But the Rams, they're, in my opinion, the best team in football. Matthew Stafford was okay this game, not his greatest game, but good enough to win this football game. Kyron Williams had himself a day, over 5 yards to carry. Puka Nakua, always going to be great. 181 yards, 9 receptions, unbelievable, unbelievable stuff. Um, and it was a high scoring affair, 41-34. But the Rams, they're just a better team in this situation. And the Rams continue to prove why everybody should be afraid of this team going into the playoffs. Simple as that.
Yeah, the Rams are very dangerous especially on the offensive side of the ball because Matt Stafford's playing at an MVP level. Devontae Adams a touchdown machine. Unfortunately, he tore his hamstring, so he's going to miss some time. But hopefully, he'll be all right by the playoffs. If they get a bye, even greater, But yeah, man, they could kill you in so many ways because Blake Corum and Kyron Williams are becoming a heck of a 1-2 punch. But on the defensive side of the ball, I do have some questions because although they've gotten solid years out of guys like Emmanuel Forbes, the Lions still put up 34 points. And I know it's the Lions; they're really good offense, but you're going to be playing good offenses in the playoffs. So you need to figure out how to hunker down that defense and not allow as many points because while they are capable of winning shootouts because they're built like that, that's not a thing you want to take a chance in a one and done in a playoff scenario. So that's all. And they don't really have a home field, so you can't really use that to your advantage.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, that's all really I can really say on that matter. But moving on, let's go to the other games. We
Last
have
about this. Do you
what
think
do
the
you
Lions are done? Because they
in
really
terms of
needed that
what, like
game.
making the
Like,
playoffs?
yeah, making the playoffs. You think they're done because they would have to jump
No,
either
I
you
don't. I don't
guys
think
or
they're
the
done.
49ers. And I think they
No,
play the
I don't think
40.
they're done.
No, they don't.
I don't think they're done because again, like the Packers, they've been hit with the injury bug now. I know like like Evan Williams, he sprained his I think MCL or something, which is not a major injury, but he's questionable. I don't know if he'll. I doubt he plays the next game. Christian Watson, it looks like he'll be fine. It looks like he might play. And Josh Jacobs, he's still dealing with the knee issue. He's going to be questionable every week. We don't know. But like losing Parsons, losing Kraft, losing Wyatt, those are like
Right.
three significant pieces. Losing Elton Jenkins, even though he didn't play well for us, but still another depth piece on the offensive line. Like it's only so many injuries that you can overcome. Now the Lions, they have been dealing with injuries as well, but they are getting guys back. So
No
I would
Kirby
say
Joseph, no Brian Branch.
that is true. Yeah, that is true. But I'll say they're still in the thick of things. But they're definitely going to need some luck on their side, something to go right in their way in terms of a team loses here, team loses here. Um, I got to look at the 49ers. The 49ers, they play the Seahawks, so who knows? Maybe that could be a situation where the 49ers lose. I got to look at the rest of the 49ers schedule 'cause that's
The
another thing,
49ers, they play the Colts this Monday,
which they'll
which they
probably
could
win.
very much win. They
Play
play,
Chicago,
yep, they play Chicago week 17. That's a toss up. And week 18, they
Seattle.
play the Seahawks.
So depending on how everything goes, I mean, she got Chicago and Seattle games. We really don't know how that's going to turn out for them. But the Lions, they're going to have to win out. I'll say that. If they lose one more game, I think they're done. That's how I
Yeah.
look at it. Because I think the Packers, they have the Bears next, which is a toss up, and then they have the Vikings, and they have they got one more game too. They have the Ravens, so they have the Bears, Ravens, Vikings, and obviously Minnesota. They're not anything to sneeze with, even with JJ McCarthy. Chicago, obviously, you can't can't lose any sleep on Chicago and Baltimore. Although they've been up and down, it's Lamar Jackson and it's the Ravens. At the end of the day, you can't lose no sleep with them. So those three games are not gimmies either. So the Lions, on the other hand, their schedule, um, because they already played Green Bay twice and lost. They have they have Pittsburgh, they have Minnesota, and they have Chicago. So they can beat Pittsburgh at home. They can Minnesota will they just lost to Minnesota. They lost to Minnesota like a month or two ago, but I believe they'll beat Minnesota at Minnesota. And then they have Chicago, which is a toss up. So we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be not the easiest, but I think their schedule isn't too difficult where they couldn't run the table, but they have to run the table.
Yeah, it's mandatory.
All right. Yeah, it's mandatory they run the tape. All right. Um, NFL schedule. Next game on the list, we got. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Kansas City Chargers. All right. Whew, man, it's weird. It just seems like anytime a team that has been so dominant for so many years has one down year, just everything starts to collapse. Injuries start to pile up. Best players start to either not perform up to expectations or they get hurt. And the fact that this year has been such a disaster for the Kansas City Chiefs, and for it to be the worst outcome possible, and that is Patrick Mahomes tears his ACL and LCL, it's like you would think this is a book or like we're living in a movie or something. It's unbelievable just how everything has crashed down for the Kansas City Chiefs since the start of the season. And I picked the Chargers to win this game. I thought that Kansas City was pretty much done. I thought that the Chiefs that we've seen over the past years, these are not the same Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is not the same Patrick Mahomes that we've known for the better part of the past 5 years. And for this to transpire, for the Patrick Mahomes injury to transpire, season ending injury that's going to put him out for at least 9 months. This is a storybook end to an incredible dynasty that we have witnessed for the better part of the past 5 seasons. It is unreal that it ends like this,
Second
where
longest
the
streak
best
of
player
consecutive playoff appearances in the history of the league.
is really a storybook end to an incredible run by an incredible organization. Hate them all you want. You can't deny the success that they've had. But I wonder with this Mahomes injury, where do they go from here? I know I'm speaking futuristic right now and not the game, but I just think at this point, the game is secondary to me. I think it's meaningless because of the Mahomes injury. Uh, I just don't know. Andy Reid, like how are you going to evolve as a play caller? Because one of the biggest criticisms of this season has been your play calling, has been your the scheme of this offense and how predictable it's become. And I'm wondering, like, how are they going to evolve? How are they going to improve? Like, what are they going to change from a roster and from a scheme standpoint that'll get them back to where they were the previous seasons? And that's what I'm wondering after this Mahomes injury, because now
Uh,
it's looking dark.
it's looking real dark for the Chiefs. Man, they gotta get that O line in order. Um, like they have receiving options. It's just they're not the way they call plays is so with like they're turning Mahomes into freaking check down Charlie. Like this is probably the lowest his of average depth of target has been his entire career. And he's not the gunslinger that we saw him be from like 2018 to 2022 and 23 and stuff like that. It's just I don't know what it is, but at this rate, Matt Nagy has to go first and foremost. They got to get an actual running back threat because Pacheco and Kareem Hunt in Big 2025, no, that's unacceptable. They have to get a legitimate running threat somehow, some way. Maybe you go after Brees Hall in the offseason. I'm pretty sure the Jets wouldn't be too stingy to offload him before the draft. You got to do something because that offense looks it just doesn't look great. And the defense side of the ball, they're no longer invincible. Um, we all know Steve Spagnuolo did a heck of a job with this Chiefs defense these past however many years, and they just those they would win a lot of games because of that defensive unit. But this year, they just haven't been the same squad. Like it was destined. It's like their luck ran out essentially for the whole Chiefs. So hey man, they got a lot of work to do this offseason. I'll tell you that much.
I think it comes down to also talent as well with that defense. They're a lot older. Guys aren't playing up to snuff like they normally are. Chris Jones is the only one that seems like producing in any sort of good level for that defense. They just got to draft better. They got to develop better. I feel like it's run its course in terms of some of the players that's been on this team. They just got to reload. In my opinion, they got to have one of those really good drafts because so far in the past few years, just looking at some of their draft, like how many good draft picks have they had as of recently? And it's not many.
Uh,
We haven't seen
Rasheed Rice,
many. Like he's been okay, but like he's still
Xavier
kind of shaky.
Worthy is.
He's been kind of he's okay, but like he's not like a legit threat. Like a legit like yeah, he's fast, but he's not a consistently uh big threat when he's aligned outside. Like that's just not the case.
Yeah, I like Josh Simmons, but he missed some time for whatever reason earlier in the season. Other than that, they haven't really. Yeah, Brett Veach, he got to draft better because some of them, I don't know. That Clyde Edward-Helaire pick probably screwed him up big time.
Like just look at their past few drafts. I just can't think of one good to elite player that they've drafted so far. Like they got Trent McDuffie, who's a decent player. Rasheed Rice is
I'd
a
say he's
decent
better. He's a
player
little better than decent. He was an All-Pro corner.
as a slot, but he's a good
All-Pro.
player. He's a good player. He's a
George
good player,
Karlaftis
but
was good, but then they paid him and he turned into a pumpkin. So I don't know what's up with that. Nick Bolton was good. Now
yeah,
most
he
of the
was.
most of the Chiefs fan base wants him gone.
And see, they need one of those drafts. Like I remember Brian Gutekunst. I'm speaking about my Packers now, but I remember at one point people were killing him on some of these drafts. But looking back now and the way that we've been playing before this week, we had a draft where we had Evan Williams, we had Edgerrin Cooper, we had Javon Bullard, and I think this may have been the same draft where we draft Jordan Morgan in the first round, but we still drafted an elite safety, a really good slot corner slash safety, and we drafted a really good linebacker, middle linebacker. Well, not middle linebacker, but off-ball linebacker in Edgerrin Cooper. And these are just some things that for the Chiefs, I don't know if we've seen that for a very long time where they've had one draft where they just did a really good draft. They just had a really good time of just picking guys that produce for them on a consistent level going forward. And I just don't think that's the case at this moment. I think they've been whiffing on a lot of guys who haven't really produced for them as of late. They've got like maybe one or two guys that from the past couple of years that are producing for them, and even still, like they've been hurt, they've been in and out of the lineup because of injuries or suspensions. Rasheed Rice and Xavier Worthy, like these are just things you just can't do if you want to continue to succeed. And now the talent level has dipped so much that you're asking Patrick Mahomes to overcome just the lack of talent in general. And it's just not going to work because at the end of the day, it's a 53-man roster. Patrick Mahomes can only do so much. And now it has started to catch up to them.
Yeah, 2023 is really when it started to get kind of crazy because 2022 they had a good draft. They had Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, Sky Moore was a crazy miss. Brian Cook is a
Crazy, man.
state starts for them, I believe. Leo Chenal is decent. So they had Isaiah Pacheco in the seventh round, Jalen Watson who plays corner for like this. So that's a solid draft. But 2023, the very next year, they drafted Felix Uzama. Does he is he even good? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Rasheed Rice in the second, that's a good player.
That's a good pick.
Wanye Morris,
Who?
I don't know. Shamari Connor, he's
Who?
all right. and two guys aren't even on the team anymore from that class. And some guy named Nick Jones in the seventh. In 2024, you had Xavier Worthy, Sua
Uh,
Matea.
who?
He's okay. He's a lineman. He's okay. Jared Wiley. I don't even recall seeing
Who?
him on the field. Jaden Hicks. Like, who are these people? And
Who?
in this previous year's draft class, Josh Simmons in the first round. He's a good pick. I don't know
Okay.
who the heck Omar Norman Lott is.
Don't know who
Apparently, they
that is.
drafted him in the second round.
Don't know who that is.
Ashton Jalote. Who are these
Who?
people?
Who? Like,
Jalen Royals. I seen him make one play this year, I think.
yeah, yeah.
Like who? Yeah. They just haven't been drafting well these past 3 years.
And to be and I will give them some bail because when you're constantly
They are
drafting
picking
late,
late.
it's going to be very difficult for you to find really good talent. But at the end
I
of the
mean,
day,
Rams
like,
find dudes though. Like that's the
but at the
thing.
end of the day, I mentioned my Packers. Evan Williams was drafted in the fifth round. Ezra and Cooper was drafted in like he was actually drafted in the second round, so that's bad. That's a bad comparison. But like Evan Williams was drafted in the fifth
The
round,
Eagles
bro.
always find value late round picks though.
You just gotta have good scouting and develop properly, I guess. That's just how it is, man. And so far, since 22, they've been whiffing on a lot of picks and it's caught up to them. But we'll see how things go forward. Moving on. Let's talk about the Bills versus the Patriots, dog. Now, I ain't gonna hold you. I picked the Patriots. I was going back and forth with this game. I thought the Bills, with the amount of injuries, was going to lose this game, and it looked like they were going to lose this game very handily. But you can never count out a team with Josh Allen. And boy, oh boy, did they come back because they put a spanking on the New England Patriots and they won this game overall. So it was a thriller up until the end. The Buffalo Bills, and I said this a week ago. I was like, hey, I know, Broncos, Patriots have been playing well. Texans look really good, but we can't count out Buffalo. I'm just saying, like, I know they got all these holes on their offense and defense, but they got a guy named Josh Allen who is compared to Superman for a reason. And they got a pretty damn good play caller at the helm in Joe Brady. And they got a pretty decent defensive mind in Sean McDermott, who still, to this point in the playoffs, has been able to take scraps and make a pretty decent meal with it, despite the fact that he has a mediocre talent on defense. I'm just saying, we cannot count out the Buffalo Bills. And this game just completely showed why I believe this way. And it's the fact that on any given Sunday, they can look like the best team in football.
Yeah, I picked the Bills to win this game because I just had feeling they would win. Even when the Pats went up 21-0, should have put some money on that. Pro betting tip: if a team goes down big but they don't look completely out of it, always play the money line. Just in case. But yeah, the Bills, man. Like you would think this team would have underachieved based on the roster limitations, but the coaching has definitely elevated the guys that they currently have. And like you said, Josh Allen is still him. James Cook is still really good. They're not getting too much production from their wide receivers, but they're still finding a way to be successful and win because of Josh Allen and James Cook. And on the defensive side of the ball, they aren't great, but they do make some timely plays, I will admit, because Drake May, I believe he threw a pick towards the end of the game, didn't he? To Trey White, I believe.
I wasn't watching at that point, but
Oh, you missed it. You missed it.
I did
I
miss
believe
it.
he threw
Yeah.
a pick to Tre'Davious White in 2025. But yeah, man, the Bills, they are I want to call them like a dark horse because they're like one of the better teams in the AFC, but they're probably not getting talked about as much as a team like New England has been as far as real contenders in that conference. So you can't count the Bills, especially this is the perfect time because you got no Mahomes. You might not have a Lamar, even though the Bills really haven't had too much trouble with the Ravens historically since Lamar got into the league, but that's still an elite QB you got to square off against. So if the Bills were to make a run, this would be the year. And honestly, the way that the conference looks, it's not out of the question that they could beat any of those teams, honestly.
And the interception that you're talking about came at the end of the third quarter. So around
In
the
the third
one
quarter.
139 mark was when Tre'Davious White intercepted Drake May. So that
Okay.
was what you were talking about.
Okay. I think that might have really kicked off the comeback for real. But yeah,
Yeah,
the Patriots still a good team.
yeah, they're still a good team.
But
They're
you
young
can
though.
a loss like that just shows like the youth and the inexperience of that team because you go up 21-0 at home, you're supposed to close out a team like the Bills and you just let them get back in. Your QB made a couple mistakes along the way, but I have no doubts in my mind that the Patriots can still probably win a game or two in the playoffs.
Yeah, depending on the matchup, they could
And if
definitely
they
make something happen.
remain, yeah, if they somehow can reclaim that top seed from the Broncos or something like that, yeah.
And Drake May is a talented QB. Like Drake
He
May
is.
is one of he's been playing top five QB level this entire season. So we can't sleep on Drake May in this attack. It seems like they're getting better and better with the running game. Travion Henderson is starting to get his
Travion, ooh,
mojo.
he's good.
Yeah, he's starting to get his confidence up. It seems like they finally found something that he can do because before then he was in the doghouse for a good part of a half a season, but now he's starting to ramp it up, and they're starting to push away from Ramondre Stevenson, and now they're really getting their second round pick running back involved more, and it's really elevating this offense. But unfortunately, they weren't able to win this game. But you know, when you have a really good QB at the helm, regardless of his inexperience, they're still a dangerous team overall, and their defense is not terrible. Although they did give up 35 against the Bills, but it's the Bills. You know, the Bills are really it's Josh Allen, it's James Cook, it's a good play caller and Joe Brady is bound to happen sometimes. And we just got to see later down the road how they look in the playoffs. That's just all I have to say. But I think they're going to continue to win. I think they'll win this division. Looking at their schedule, they have Baltimore, which is going to be pretty interesting game in itself. But they have the Jets and they have Miami. So it just seems like to me they're inevitably going to win this division going forward. So we'll just have to see in the postseason what they'll look like. But moving on, let's go to the let's see what else we got here. Let's decide. Um, let's go to your team, man. Let's do it.
Oh no.
Let's do it. We're gonna do
All
it.
right.
Cowboys and Vikings. What the hell happened to your Cowboys to
I will
lose?
tell you what happened. Coaching lost this game. And I'm not talking about defensive. I'm talking both sides of the ball. The coaching lost you the game because we all know that the Cowboys are fielding one of the worst defenses I've ever seen in my entire life, thanks to Matt Eber. This dude is terrible. I don't know how he's still employed. He needs to be on the street tonight. But I will say, Jerry Jones, in his recent interviews, he has been putting him on notice, essentially, like, hey, we letting dudes like JJ McCarthy have career games against us. We having dudes like Justin Fields having career games on us. You supposed to be the defensive guy. What are you doing? So he's been put on notice. If we don't see no improvement to close out this season, and he doesn't coach like he got some daggone sense, he's going to be up out of here. And they already assigning a coach, one of our assistant defensive coaches, giving him more, like he's been given the assignment of in-game adjustments and stuff. So, and then Matt Eberflus, he talked about he's going to move up to the booth to see what's going on. I said, oh yeah, once a position coach starts trying to move to the sideline, move to the booth, the days are numbered. So We got to get him up out of here. He's the number one culprit of why this season went to absolute crap. And secondly, Brian Schottenheimer. I like Brian Schottenheimer. I think he's running a very good offense, very efficient offense. But my dude, I know we had Brandon Aubrey. Why are we kicking field goals on 4th and 3 on like the 20-something yard line? Like, you cannot trust this defense to get a stop. They may be good for 3 stops a game. They had J.J. McCarthy looking like Tom Brady out there. It's nasty. You have to coach with that in mind. You got to know your personnel. This defense is not good enough to stop anything. So we have to play super aggressive all 4 quarters, or unless we risk, if the offense isn't nearly perfect, we very much will lose the game. We got away with it against the Eagles, and we got away with it against the Chiefs. But the Vikings, they had Brian Flores is a good defensive coordinator. Like he's going to give you looks that you've never seen all year, and you had no answer for it. So this is coaching loss straight up. The players, obviously the players could have played better. George Pickens could have done something, but I'm like, he was running slants all game. Why was he only running slants, Shoddy? You see what I'm saying? Like this was a coaching loss. Full sin. Schottenheimer, he did take credit for. He said, "Hey man, Brian Flores kicked my butt today," and I can respect that. But at the end of the day, if this is going to be a trend after this year, I'm not excited about that.
How you feel about Quentin Williams? Do you think
I think he's great, but you can only do so much. The Vikings had a good offense game plan. The crazy thing is the Cowboys get good pressure if you look at the numbers throughout the league and stuff, but the back end of secondary is so bad, it doesn't matter.
So you mentioned that you're blaming the coordinator more than the players. Is it a situation where he's calling, it's just his in-game management, in-game play calling that's really hurting the team overall? Like it's like situational in a way
Oh,
where
goodness. Yes, it's
time, yeah,
everything. Let me tell you something. This man, it was 4th and 3. This was
yeah.
essentially the ball game here. It's 4th and 3, and he rushes 3 and drops everybody else in zone. Are you insane? Who calls that? Like, I wouldn't even call that in Madden. It makes no sense to give him that kind of look. J.J. McCarthy is not good against the blitz. We blitzed him early in the game, but as soon as the first quarter, we stopped blitzing him. Why? Why are we not blitzing? We're supposed to challenge him, make him be able to make a read quickly, but you just gave him all day in the pocket. Like, yeah, you stopped the run game for the most part. Congratulations. Oh, DeRon Bland getting cooked for another touchdown. Oop. So, like, it's the personnel. We still playing Kenneth Murray. Kenneth Murray, yo, he is easily a bottom 3 defensive player this year. He is god-awful. You turn on Kenneth Murray tape, you're like, what is this dude doing for 90% of the time? Like, what is he practicing? Is he watching film? I don't know. He's god-awful. Every time he's on the field, he's filling the wrong gap. He's just doing a bunch of silly stuff. He's terrible in space. He's not that great of a tackler. Like, he doesn't do anything well. It is so frustrating to see. It's like he's so stubborn. And he's so insistent on running Eberflus. He's so insistent on running this garbage zone scheme when the personnel all throughout the roster shows this is a man pressure team. We get pressure up front in the front 7 or front 4, whatever, and then we play man on the back end. J.J. McCarthy had like a 50% completion percentage when we were in man versus being like 80% or so when we was playing zone. Doesn't common sense say, he's tearing us up in zone. Maybe we should play more man. Not Matt Eberflus. He's going to continue to do the same crap and expect different results. And that's exactly the reason why he needs to be fired. Because if you can't adjust as a coach and adapt, you have no business being in the NFL.
There we go, our weekly Cowboys segment from the one and only Brian, the Cowboys diehard fan. Oh man. Anywho, we're gonna move on to the last team. My team, unfortunately, the best for last, also the saddest of last. Man, where do I begin, bro? So, man, that Sunday, it felt like the red wedding from Game of Thrones. Um, Everything that could go wrong went wrong. At one point it felt like, oh my God, this Packers team, man, we're balling. We're playing the best football we played the entire season. We're up by double digits. Josh Jacobs, he had an amazing run to the end zone. Like, oh my gosh, this team, nothing could go wrong. Jordan Love is balling, completing passes. He's diming out there, like doing everything. We looking good. I'm like, oh my God, we making a statement today. And then all of a sudden, the injuries started to amount. Guys started to go down with injuries. Zach Tom, Micah Parsons, Evan Williams. These are key players on our team, and they all dropped like flies. I'm like, no, no. And see, here's the thing, because I want to paint you guys a picture of me during this time. I'm working during the time of the game. And so, um, I take a break. I work and then I take a break and I turn on the game. And I turn on the game the moment Micah Parsons goes down with an injury. So, I don't know what to think. I completely blacked out. I'm like, nah. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way this could happen. There's no way that the worst possible scenario could happen right now for me. The nightmare that I always think about in the back of my head is happening right now. Literally, I turn on my phone, I watch the game, I see footage of Mike Parsons grabbing his knee. Like, nah, no way. And see, the worst thing is the fact that I'm working right now and I can't react how I want to react. So I have to stay calm. I have to stay professional. I can't be all over the place. Somebody snitched on me talking about, I'm doing something I'm not supposed to do, which is I'm on my phone watching the game right now. Somebody snitched on me. All this other stuff, right? So like
Was
I'm
it a
having a bad
coworker
day.
snitching?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
What a cornball!
he ain't even he not even a leader. He not even a coordinator. Like he's just a regular full-time part-timer. Snitched on me, whatever. But like, so I got that going on, and then I got this going on, and then we lose to the Broncos, and I'm like, damn. I'm like, this game right here, man. I don't even know what to really say. I can't even tell you X's and O's, what went wrong, because the amount of injuries, the amount of significant injuries that we had in this game amounted to us losing because we were putting belt to ass on the Broncos, and then all of a sudden, a car crash happened. A car crash on the road when we should be gearing up to potentially have the number 2 seed in the NFC. Now, the Bears have the number 2 seed. Now, I don't even know if we can beat the Bears this week because we're going to be missing Micah Parsons because Evan
Well,
Williams could
they'll be
potentially be
missing
out.
Rome and Luther Burden, I believe.
Doesn't matter because you know what they like to do a lot. They lean
Run.
on the running game. Their strength is running the football. And when Micah Parsons, who people criticize, oh, he's not a good run defender, I disagree. I think he's been pretty decent this year with a lot of the snaps that he's played. He's been pretty decent in stopping the run. And his explosiveness, missing, in my opinion, a top 10 player in the NFL and arguably a top 5 player in the NFL in Michael Parsons is going to be felt against the Bears. He was a needle mover. In my opinion, the second best defensive player I can argue he's the second best defensive player in football. It's easily Myles
He
Garrett number
is.
one. But Michael Parsons is the second best defensive player in football, and the numbers back it up. Now, don't give me sack numbers. Oh, but Nick Benito has more sacks, like half a sack more than him. But look at QB pressures. Look at double team rate. Look at the amount of chips that he's getting hit with, and tell me
Look at
Michael
pass
Parsons,
rush win rate.
past West River, tell me Michael Parsons isn't the second most impactful defensive player in the NFL behind Myles Garrett. He's literally the second best, and we lost him. We lost him. But I don't even want to get down that road. Next week we'll talk about that later. But yeah, man, it was just a disaster. And I was looking at the Jordan Love interceptions. Um, Here's my thing with Jordan Love. The interception, so there's two of them. One of them, I thought Patrick Surtain made an amazing play. Could have Love
Crazy play.
Could Love have thrown a better ball? Absolutely. But was it a good enough ball to where Christian Watson could have potentially made a play? Absolutely. I just think Patrick Surtain made an amazing play. And during that point of the game, I thought Matt LaFleur he made the right decision in calling that play because he was aggressive. He wanted to go for the kill shot. I think we were up in the game during that point. And he said, all right, we're going to go for the kill shot. 1-on-1, Christian Watson, 6'4", 4'3". Hey, here's your moment. You're going up against Patrick Surtain. Here's your moment. And he just wasn't able to capitalize. And then the other interception, I thought that was on Love because I think he threw it a little bit behind Wicks. Although it did hit Wicks' hands, he still could have thrown a better ball to Wicks in that situation. So I would give Love the blame on that interception, even though I do wish, if we had one of those really good receivers, maybe they're able to catch that. But at the end of the day, he still has to throw a better ball than that, and he just couldn't. And that's really what it was. But overall, I can't really give you a good assessment of this game because all I can think about is those damn injuries and what could have been. What could have been. And now I just don't see this Packers team as a contender. Weeks ago when I was very down on this team after what we did against the Eagles, and I said, oh, they're pretenders and stuff like that, they slowly have been trying to prove me wrong, and they did, and then boom, injuries. It's just the nature of the NFL. Just the nature of
Ain't
it.
that the truth?
Any given Sunday, any given down, you never know what is going to happen. It's the most unpredictable sport. It's the most violent and physical sport in America outside of hockey. And you just never know if one of your best players are going to go down with injuries or not. And it's really a lot of it is talent, a lot of it is good coaching, but it's also a lot of luck. And some teams have it. Some teams like my Packers just don't this year. And hopefully next year, if they continue to draft well, to do the right things, maybe it'll be the year. But this year, it's just not our year. It seems like the Rams or the Seahawks, it's their year. But it's not our year. And I can accept that.
It's okay, man. I know how it feels.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Which it is what it is, man. I just hope Jordan Love is able to finish with a good season, and we're able to at least make the postseason. If we can make the postseason, and Jordan Love is able to continue to improve week after week, then and if we can win the division, I'm like, all right, at least I can have something to root for, have something to look
Leave it with
in the
something.
bright side. Even with the injuries, hey, if we can beat the Bears, if we can win the division, and Jordan Love can finish the season with like 30 touchdowns and only like 6 or 7 interceptions, that's a win. That's a win. But injuries suck, man. Injuries really suck. They just really suck. And
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
Pour
But I
one
want
out
to
for
get
the
to yeah,
Packers.
yeah. I want to go to the final topic. Thursday night football game starts in less than an hour, but we got to discuss it right now. Rams versus Seahawks. This is the biggest game this year for Thursday night football by far. It's not a bigger game of Thursday night football than this game. Let's see
Hey,
here.
Thursday
But
night football been all right this year.
it's been all right. It's been all right. But one thing I got to do first before I even decide who I think is going to win the game, I got to look at this injury report. Now we know
No
Devontae Adams is going to
Devontae,
be out.
obviously.
Yeah,
I don't know about the Seahawks side of things. I think they're mostly healthy for the
they
majority.
are.
Uh,
Only
they're
guy that's
favored. I
out.
think it's one. The Seahawks are favored at 1.5, 2.5, or something like that.
It's pretty much a pick 'em
Um,
game.
yeah, pretty much because Seahawks are home. Um, Field conditions may be a little wet out there, but they
Yep.
said it's supposed to stop raining before kickoff. So, man, this is such a hard game to pick because common sense tells you Seahawks probably split. They get the split. But Sam Darnold had such a bad game the last time they played each other. They had 4 interceptions. But on the other flip side, they did only lose by a few points, even after all of that. And the Rams defense is susceptible to get whooped up on um every now and then against good offenses. And Kubiak has done a great job with that Seahawks offense, but they cannot run the ball. I feel like you got to be able to run the ball well against the Rams, and they just haven't been able to do it with Charbonnet, Kendon Walker. It doesn't matter; they can't get the run game going. So I think I'm
How
gonna go.
significant a loss is Charles Cross?
Ooh, that's kind of that's something. That's something. I liked him coming out of college. I'm not sure how much. I know, like 1 year he was like really good. I'm not sure how. Like he starts, right?
I believe
I hope
so.
he
He's on
still starts.
offense. Yeah, he's offensive tackle, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's a big loss because Jerry Verse hasn't. This might be a Jerry Verse kind of game because he's been relatively quiet this year after the rookie campaign he had. Man, I'm gonna go Rams. I'm going Rams. I was leaning
Mm.
Seahawks before, but I'm gonna go Rams now. I think that whole no Devontae Adams. I still think the offense will still flow efficiently. Puka has been in the headlines for some things outside of football, messing with them streamers. I stop telling athletes stop going on them streams. But I'm gonna go Rams. I might regret it, but I'm gonna plant my flag and say the Rams get a win here on the road in Seattle because they can run the ball, unlike the Seahawks. But I do think Sam Darnold plays a much better game than he did in week 11. I think they played the last time. So
You make valid points. I think I'm gonna go with the Rams too. I got to see Sam Darnold beat the Rams. I got to see Sam Darnold. I'm not a
he has been a
believer
kryptonite.
just yet. I'm not. I got to see it to believe it before I can even have any semblance of confidence in picking a team led by Sam Darnold against the Los Angeles Rams. It just seems like the Rams have his number at this point the past 2 seasons. So I think I'm gonna go with the Rams in this scenario. I know Devontae Adams is gonna be out, but Matthew Stafford is an amazing quarterback. He's one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's been the best quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion, this entire season, and I think he's gonna win the MVP this year. I just think they're too good. I think they're too talented from both sides of the football, and even in bad conditions, I think they can adapt. I think they can run the football. You have Corum and um, you have Kyron Williams, those 2 guys, that two-headed monster, and the offensive line has been really good for them this year. I think they can play anywhere. They can play in the snow, they can play in the rain, they can play in the sunshine. It doesn't matter. I just think the Rams are that good of a team, even on Thursday night football, even when guys aren't the healthiest, to be able to overcome the situation and win. This isn't the same Seahawks team from the Pete Carroll days where you had Russell Wilson, and I remember Russell Wilson. They beat the Rams. They would beat Sean McVay. I don't think this is the same Seahawks team where they were able to beat the Rams in certain games. I just don't. Even though Mike McDonald is an amazing coach, they've been playing out of their mind. The defense is playing out of their mind. But like you mentioned, the running game, got to be able to run the ball. Got to be able to be honest. And I just don't see it this game. I think it's a close game, close contest. Comes down to a field goal, but I got the Rams this game. 23-20.
23-20. I can see that. I'm gonna go. Ooh. I'm going 28-25. Rams.
So you think it's gonna be more scoring?
Yeah.
Because
Yours
of the
probably
Thursday
is a
night
little more
football.
realistic. Yeah. Yours probably a little more. And it's just, coming off a short week, probably isn't going to be super high fly scoring. But I'm just hoping we see a real action packed game. I like defensive struggles as much as the next guy, but
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you heard it first, guys. That'll do it on this episode of the Courtside View podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the socials, and we will see you guys on the next episode of the Courtside View podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and see you later. Peace.
salute.
All right.